as best as I can. My name is Thiago. I'm from dailybits.pt, and let's go ahead and jump into the first question and see what is the question and how can I help. So the first question is how to automate parameters in FL Studio. There are several ways, and I will show you some of the best ways and what you should expect when it comes to VST2 and VST3. VST3. Yeah, I strongly recommend VST3 because it's a more easy way to add parameters, but it can also give some errors. So I will show you the ins and outs of both versions, or both VST versions. So let's jump into FL Studio. Yeah, so here FL Studio, and let's talk about automating parameters in third-party plugins and also in FL Studio. In FL Studio, the best way to automate plugins is by right-clicking on something, and you will have here an option, Create Automation Clip. That's it. That's the most simple question answer. It's you right-click on something, and you go here, Create Automation Clip, and you will see that if I do here, and if I go to the playlist, I have here now a clip that I can move around, I can edit. And if I, for instance, do this, and if we go to the channel rack, you will see that this plugin, as we play, or this parameter, sorry, as we play, the parameter starts to move on its own. So this is how you would automate your parameters in FL Studio. It's quite simple. FL Studio has everything integrated, so it's very easy to do this. But the problem arises when we want to do automation in, let's say, in plugins. So let me close this, and let's go, for instance, to a plugin in FL Studio, one classic, which is the 3x oscillator. So in this plugin, if we want to automate stuff here, we can just right-click, again, Create Automation Clip. It's the same as the swing knob that I showed you here. So we can pretty much automate everything, create an automation for every single parameter that we have here in FL Studio or on the plugins designed by ImageLine. And if we go, for instance, to the mixer, and if we do the same, right-click, you will find always Create Automation Clip. So this is always here, always present. And let's open, for instance, the filter. If we right-click here, maybe not here, we don't have these options, but what does this, this moves, for instance, this knob and also the frequency. So if we move the frequency around, we can move all the knobs here, and you can see this going up and down and the frequency moving. So as you can see, so if I right click here, it shows these buttons. It doesn't show Create Automation Clip, but we can just simply go here and right click and say Create Automation Clip. And that way we can pretty much automate any single parameter. So I see a comment from Johnny. Hola. Hi, Johnny. What's up? So if you have any questions regarding music production, just leave them in the chat and I will try my best to answer. Okay, let's go back to the question. And the question is how to automate parameters in FL Studio. Okay, so this is how you can do that. And let's go now to the hardest way to do this, which is by using third-party plugins. And let's open here, for instance, one from Air. Let's do this Expand 2, which is one plugin that I really enjoy. So if I right-click here now, there's no create controller. No, what's the name? Let me see. Create Automation Clip. So if I right-click here, there's nothing to give me that option here. So how can I automate this? There are two ways. I will show you the easiest one and the hardest one. The easiest one is just you select a knob that you want to automate. You move it like so. For instance, let's put this at center again. And then you go to this small triangle. You click here, and then you go browse parameters. What this will do is it will show a list in the browser, and if I click here, it shows the list of the parameter that I last selected, which is depending here for the filter A or for the instrument A. And if I right click here, you will see that I have a create automation clip. So that's how we can automate parameters for the third-party plugins. So let's go and let me show you now the parameter for this. Let me close here some stuff to make it easy to see. And if I, for instance, move this from here to here, and if I hit play, you see that the parameter moves alone because we have now automation. So this is the easiest way. And of course, you can still go to every single plugin that you have here, remote controls, and where is it? Generators, expand to here, and we can select pretty much every single parameter here that we want. So this is the most tedious way. So I strongly recommend you select the parameter that you want, you move it around, and then you go here, browse parameters, and then it will show which parameter you selected, and you right click and you create automation clip. So now let's talk about a little bit about version VST version 2 and version 3. So first I have to see which ones I have that are version 2, because I'm not quite sure which ones are version 2. So let's see here in the plugin selector, generator selector, let's call VST3. So these are the plugins that I have that are VST3. So when you install a new plugin, what you will see is that there are some options, and usually they say, do you want to install VST2 or VST and VST3? And I strongly recommend you always do VST3 2 also. Maybe 2, it's a little bit confusing, but also. Why? Because as I will show you, let's go here, for instance, to Labs plugin, and we can also go to the Codecs plugin. So let's see if I have both versions. But yeah, this one here, I only have version 3, so VST3. So let's open up Labs. Where do I have Labs? Here. And this is how the Labs looks like. But if I right click now, let me see, where is it? Oh, actually doesn't allow it to. But yeah, some plugins will allow you to right click. Let me see if this is the VST3. No, this is actually VST 2.4. It's not loading the VST3, which what happens is basically it bypasses these right click options and it shows the same dialog here. So let me see if I can load a VST3 version, a plugin with that version, with a VST3 version. Let me see this one here. Okay, so this is VST3. And if I right click, no, it doesn't. That's strange. It should show the other dialog. Well, I guess I'm wrong. Like I said, I try my best to give you a correct answer, but yeah, looks like they both have the same dialog. So again, if you want to automate something, you just click on the knob, you go here and browse parameters, and it will show you the parameter that you just selected, oscillator 1 tune, which was this knob here, and we can right click and create an automation, and that's how easy it is to automate parameters in FL Studio.